Now, from Wyoming's news leader, more news, more often. Covering the day's top headlines, this is K2 News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to K2 News at 5. I'm Kimberly filling for Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. Coming up, the Casper Children's Theater celebrated their grand opening. We'll have the details, and we spoke with Senator Barrasso about the situation on the border. But first, let's take a look at our top story. Children are heading back to school, so we've put together some back-to-school safety tips. Take a look.
According to research by the National Safety Council, most of the children who lose their lives in school bus-related incidents are 4 to 7 years old. Here are a few precautions that go a long way toward keeping children safe. Never pass a bus from behind or from either direction if it is stopped to load or unload children. In a school zone when flashers are blinking, stop and yield to pedestrians crossing. Never pass a vehicle stopped for pedestrians. Always stop for a school patrol officer or crossing guard holding up a stop sign. Take extra care to look out for children in school zones, near playgrounds and parks, and in all residential areas. If you're driving behind a bus, allow a greater following distance than if you were driving behind a car. If the yellow or red lights are flashing and the stop arm is extended, traffic must stop. The area 10 feet around a school bus is the most dangerous for children. Stop far enough back to allow them space to safely enter and exit the bus. Be alert. Children are often unpredictable, and they tend to ignore hazards and take risks.
Casper Children's Theater celebrated the grand opening of their new theater. I went down there to check it out. Casper Children's Theater has a place to call home after continuing their theater programming at multiple locations without a permanent place to perform. They celebrated their grand opening on North Durban Street during a ribbon-cutting ceremony, which was followed by several performances from upcoming productions. Casper Children's Theater is a nonprofit organization with volunteer board members who share their time and love for theater. Program coordinator Audrey Egan shares the importance of having an official theater for the children and the community.
The really cool thing about having a permanent home for our community, for kids who want to try theater, is that they know where it is. And when they walk in, we want them to feel like, yeah, I'm home. This is the place where they can throw down their book bag after school and hang out with friends and sing and dance or try lighting or try painting sets or all of the things that we do. And they can give it a try and know that this is a safe space, that this is a space where they can learn and grow. And ultimately, we hope our end goal is that when they leave us, they are kind and caring and empathetic humans who want to do good in the world.
Casper Children's Theater is excited to kick off the 2021-2022 season with several productions to perform to the community at their new location.
Behind the windy weather we've had today, we've got cooler temperatures overnight. Let's look at our numbers heading out to 7 a.m. on Saturday. A lot of 40s spilling east. We're going to see 47 degrees at 7 a.m. in Casper. Also that number in Rawlins across the west, we have a lot of 30s, and we are down to freezing overnight in Yellowstone. Far eastern areas still in the 50s, 55 in Cheyenne, and starting the day tomorrow in Scottsbluff at 59 degrees. Let's take a look at the wind, which decreases overnight. In most areas, seeing light wind at 7 a.m., maybe a little bit breezy around Cheyenne. Through the day tomorrow, the winds are going to be quite a bit lighter from Riverton, Casper, and Douglas north for the most part. A little bit breezy around Gillette and Newcastle. Still going to have some gusts into the 20s, maybe to around 30 miles per hour along I-80 between Rock Springs, Rawlins, and Laramie. So a little bit of enhanced fire danger here again with low humidity and some breeze out there, so use caution. Low humidity, of course, means very hard to find any rain. Maybe a shower in the far north is about all we can muster on your Saturday. And on Sunday, we're actually tracking a chance of morning showers in the Cheyenne area. Looks like you'll be dry for the afternoon, but may just get off to a little bit of a wet start on your Sunday morning. I'll have more details on that weekend forecast straight ahead.
Caitlin O'Shaughnessy sat down with Senator Barrasso to talk about what's happening on the border.
Now, Senator Barrasso, since the last time we spoke, there was a lot going on at the border. Have there been any new developments or any improvements since then?
No improvements. It's actually gotten worse, and there have been stories in the news of the border being overrun by illegal immigrants. You know, President Biden at one time said, well, it'll slow down in the summer. It has not. It has sped up the number of people trying to come here illegally. And And it's not just from Mexico. They come through Mexico, but over 50 countries have been represented by people coming across the border, and many of them carrying diseases, a high percentage of them testing positive for COVID. None of them have been vaccinated, so they're undocumented and unvaccinated. And we're at a point where over 1 million illegal immigrants have come to the United States since Joe Biden has been president. People all around Wyoming ask me about it as I travel the state, and what can we do? Well, it's pretty easy. We know what to do. It's what we were doing in the last administration, building the wall, and Joe Biden stopped that the day he became president. And it's something called the Remain in Mexico policy, where people applying for asylum in the United States had to remain in another country while they made their application. Under Joe Biden, they're allowed to come into the country and then are released into the country and then wait a time in a court hearing that may be 2 or 3 years in the future, and they'll never show up for that. But the kind of things that are coming across the border, I mean, you name it. It's drugs, it's human trafficking, all sorts of horrible things that you would not want into the country. And Joe Biden is turning America, the entire country, into a sanctuary city with so many illegal immigrants that so many people in Wyoming are very, very concerned about. And we're trying to reverse this trend. But the Democrats, even the vice president, when she was running for president, wanted to eliminate Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. So they have such a very different view of what the people of Wyoming have in terms of border security. Because to me, border security is national security. If you don't have a secure border, you don't have a secure nation. Absolutely. And being up here in Wyoming, we are quite far removed from the border. Is it as big of a problem up here as it is in some of our southern states? It's still a big problem here because of the drugs that are being brought in, the human trafficking that's being, the disease that's coming across, crime that is coming into the United States. The entire nation is impacted by what's happening at the southern border. This is a trend that needs to reverse. We continue to try to bring more attention to it, but at a time when we have the collapse in Afghanistan, the Taliban taking over, the failure of the Biden administration to get our citizens out of there safely, at a time when we have inflation, where gas is up $1 a gallon, where a trip to the grocery store is $25 more expensive now than it was, say, at the beginning of this year. People are being impacted by so many different things that the focus on the border has not been what I think it should be, but it is critically important to our country. Absolutely. Well, Senator, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. Thank you. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. Until next time.
Coming up, we'll have your full weather forecast. We'll be right back.